Hi, everyone. So tonight's another episode 5 of The Real Love Boat. But the Love Boat got dumped. And, for everyone that loves the Love Boat so far, I'm going to just be completely transparent and just say, I think I told CBS how this should go. And I want you to tell me what you think too. I know it was hard for me not to be biased since I am the real Julie McCoy. And I don't want to take Matt Mitchum's spot, believe me. He's a beloved cruise director from Carnival, great guy, obviously huge following, and really looking forward to meeting him someday or doing an interview with him. But it definitely lacked reality. And that's what I think went wrong, first of all. And I thought that this was going to be a real like reality show, which is what CBS, when I was interviewed for the position by an agency, they said, CBS is doing the real Love Boat, and there was just nothing authentic about it. So here's what I think it needed to be better, and I would love for you to comment and tell me what you think, or tell me if you think I'm being biased, because I did spend 20 years of my life and I fell in love on the Love Boat, and I worked in the Love Boat. I was the real life Julie McCoy. When they say like, what do you do, what did you do, or what do you do, I generally tell them, the Love Boat, and I really was Julie McCoy. Like, she played me on TV. So we have thousands of singles, usually groups of hundreds or so, and I've always wanted to showcase what a real single sailing is like, because I just see the magic that happens. And I don't think that CBS needed to do another contest. Like, when and on a date do you do contests, first of all? Like, it's just so unrealistic. And while it had its like heyday like 5 years ago, and then the Love Island, I watched Love Island or Temptation Island or something like that. I loved them both. I thought they were really cute. But you can only watch something like that so many times. And then for me, I deal with really real single people that are cruising, and real single people that are cruising are 40s plus. They're not 20 or 30. Because it's just not their genre yet. And you can try to make it so, but cruising, although I think is great for everyone, it's just not that's not where they live. It's not where the kids live. Oh, thank you, Jim. That's sweet. I'll stop. Tell me more. No, I really do believe that Joel and I, if we were to host the show, and again, I'm a really reasonable lady, and I don't cast shade very often. But the Rebecca and Jerry hosting the show didn't make any sense to me. And I know no one wants to say it because they don't want to be mean, but that's not mean. That's just assessing the fact that those were the wrong people for the show. And what I think CBS did was they wasted a golden opportunity to reinvent the Love Boat. I mean, they had the rights to the music, which is huge because it brings us all back. We hear that entry song and we all just feel the groove. And when they tried to push Jerry and Rebecca on it, which are actors, it just didn't make sense. First of all, I know what they were thinking. At least I think I know. I think what they were thinking is, oh, we have this talk show host guy on CBS, and then if he does it, more people from his talk show will watch. Okay, I mean, I get the math there. That makes sense to me. But you had me like as an opportunity, the real Love Boat, someone who's actually been on the cruises with the singles, and we could have gotten people. In fact, solo travel TV on YouTube. That's actually why we created it, was before the pandemic with travelfund.biz, which we own that company, this travel company. We were going to have our singles, and we had our videographers. They were going to do a real reality show with our real singles, and they're 40s plus, and there's nothing wrong with being 40s plus and single. In fact, I think that's where most people live now. Marriages are harder to stay together. People are waiting to get married. That's the reality of what's going on. People are not getting married in their 20s, and I don't even really think they should. I mean, some people can make it work, but if I'm being honest with everybody, and the psychology of dating that I've seen, and again, I have 500 cruises under my belt, over 15 years, thousands of singles I've led. So I've spent a lot of time analyzing, asking, interviewing. And I find that we change the most in our 20s. Like, in a relationship, especially a marriage, really only stays together happily if you change together. There's a lot of little, things people can say, happy wife, happy life, and just say yes, yes, honey, whatever, yes, dear. But I was looking for true meaningful information. And out of the thousands of interviews that I did, and I was a cruise director on Princess, and one of my big things was doing the newlyweds and the 50-year married together. They would come and have a cocktail party. And we had very few newlyweds on Princess, but we did have a lot of marrieds, 50 years. So I used to interview the 50-year married people, the happy ones. I did not interview the unhappy ones. I was like, whatever they got to say, I don't think I'll learn. But yeah, it was like basically what the people that were 50 years married, the best advice I ever got that I tell people is we all change and we try to change together. So thanks again, Jim. That was very sweet. So basically, that in my life has been true too, and I don't think there's any more change in a decade than between your 20s and your 30s. you know, and I would you agree with that? I mean, I think that's why a lot of young marriages fail because I am not the person I was in my 20s, and my husband met me in my 20s, and I always tell him, well, you're lucky. You got the really fun, crazy Shelby. like, he can still remember her. She was in there somehow. But, I wasn't that Shelby in my 30s, and I certainly I'm not that Shelby now. And I I have changed the most between 23 and 33. I think that's when I changed the most. And him too. I mean, he was the wildest, most adventurous, crazy, debonair guy. And now he's a great, gorgeous, authentic, oh honey, I should have rehearsed this. I don't want to say anything. that's not that's not nice. I'm so tired. I just came back from a travel agent conference actually from Vegas. I still haven't slept a whole night, so I am exhausted. So I don't have all the words right, but you know what I mean. My husband's just not the same man as he was when I met him, nor could I keep up with him when now if he was 20. So we were party animals. We were fun in the sun. We were the life of the party, and now we're clapping for the life of the party. I mean, you just change. Your life changes. You change. So all these 20-year-olds doing the dating show, it just seems completely unrealistic to me, especially on a cruise. And then there's the whole fact that frankly, I think it's much more interesting to see 40 plus women and men going and telling us the truth, because let me tell you, get a couple glasses of wine and a 40-year-old woman that knows what she wants, and you don't have to play any games. She's going to tell you, and it's funny and it's crazy and it's wild in real life. Like, I feel like we have so many more fun, interesting things that happen on our real single sailing. And if you want to check it out, go to travelfun.biz. We're leaving for an adults only Virgin Voyages cruise. We have a group of singles and they're awesome. But our ladies and our men are, they've lived life. You don't have to play games. There's no need for dating games. There's usually, I will say, generally in any single sailings, I always say it's not girls gone wild. These people are, they're adults. They're having a fun time. They're letting loose. But these are professional people. They have money to cruise. They don't need someone to pay for them. They have their own money. They have what they want. They're just there to have a good time and rub elbows and hobnob and have a laugh and make a friend, maybe even fall in love, but most of the time people make friendships. In fact, constantly what I see is traveling friends for life. And that is more valuable than a boyfriend, because generally, it takes a lot of kissing a lot of frogs before you find your prince, right? But it is true that definitely there are usually some connections. I would say probably 10-20% any given cruise, have a real connection. And then when you're on a cruise, you don't have to drive. So there is a little bit more embellishing in the cocktails. So a couple glasses of wine, 3-4 drinks in a disco night mid-cruise, and you don't need to create a contest. It's hilarious. I mean, it's funny, it's sweet, it's sometimes sad. Generally, there's a lover's triangle somewhere in there where maybe in the first couple nights, a girl and a guy might have kissed or found that they thought they were attracted to each other. And then they get to talking to someone else and they're like, well, actually, I like that person better. And then they see the other person with the other person in the disco, and it's like the waterworks or the sitting. It's just like, oh no, that didn't work out. That does happen, and not a lot, but it does happen almost every cruise for sure, um, by one or two people. And that to me is easy to follow. I mean, that would be interesting because it's real. And I supply the environment, and I told this to the casting agency. They said, "What do you do? Are you a matchmaker?" And I said, "No, I don't believe in being a matchmaker." Excuse me, my little sailing earrings are getting caught in my hair. I'm still not with it from that travel agent conference trying to fly back from Vegas. I had to fly back on Spirit, and I did actually cast some shade on this because holy macaroni, like someone has to like shake that airline out of its craziness. Like that is wrong to make a seat that uncomfortable. I don't care what kind of money. Like I don't care. It really wasn't the money for me. I would pay double. Not that I'm that affluent, but I would pay double to cruise on any. I mean, to take a flight on any other airline besides Spirit, because frankly, I just don't have the time for all that craziness. But they just didn't have that date, that time, direct flight. Spirit was the only one, so I took it, and my butt is still sore, and that's 48 hours later, and I'm like, that's torture. I mean, who? No one, just because you can't afford luxury or people want it cheap doesn't mean you could put a torture device in there and make people sit there for 4 hours. It's mean. It's inhumane. It's got to stop. Like, my gosh, what is the world coming to? Like, goodness gracious, they didn't even try to make it comfortable. It's just horrible. Anyway, so I'm exhausted, so I might go on and on a little bit. But my point is that I think people would like to see real singles. And CBS, I feel like you kind of like burst in my bubble because I know you got a lot of money into this, and you got Isaac, who I would have loved to have met. Oh, Isaac. And you had actually the doc who I actually met, Bernie Koppel. I met him, oh my God, 15 years ago. I saw a picture of him. He's still doing good. He's a lot older though. But he is such a cutie. I would have loved to have seen him again. And anyway, they had Charo is what they call her. The one that's like, "Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo." She is so cute. I would have loved to have met her in person too. But they just didn't keep it real with the people. Of course, we love Ezra. I got to chat with Ezra. I hope to interview her at some point too, get her feedback, what she can tell us. And you should follow her on TikTok. She's adorable. But it's like it's not the crew that I had any issue with. It's really the fact that the host with the most should have been Joel and I, because we really are singles sailings cruise directors. That's what we do. In fact, when it was being aired, we were actually hosting a single sailing. And I was like, how ironic. They're doing it for fake TV. We're doing it real life. Like, and I interviewed for the show and they picked them instead of us. And it's just really sad to me, because that was truly, yeah, it was definitely truly, so true. Yeah. It's definitely truly could have been so much more than a dating competition theme. I mean, it really could have. And I think people really wanted to see more, and they expected more. On the Real Love Boat, they always had a little love connection, which I understand was, acting. But we really have the real deal. And it is fun. We always apply all kinds of organic activities, fun little activities for them to meet. That's where I was going with this. They asked me if I was a matchmaker, and I said, no, I'm not really into that. When people are in their 40s, no one wants to be forced to 40s, 50s, 60s. No one wants to be forced to date. I mean, for crying out loud, that's just really lame. But I do create the environment for friendships and love to happen. We have little mixers and theme nights and cocktail parties, and I am the hostess with the mostest. I literally have an award for that. I have to find it. I am the hostess with the mostest. I think it's over here. I don't know. I'll find it for next time, or I'll put a picture of it. But yeah, I do have a hand for sure in creating the organic environment that it takes to give people the confidence, the courage, and sometimes just the extra help to, introduce people. But I like it to be organic. I definitely want you guys to fall in love, like for real. I don't want it to be fake. And I have seen so many romances on my last Facebook Live. I scrolled through, I think there was like 50 pictures of people that just posted, yes, we fell in love on one of your single sailings, and here we are with our families. And it's so magical. It is so magical. And I do think it's amazing to fall in love at sea. There's a few elements that help the real love boat, the really real love boat, to actually happen, which is, number one, you're confined in a space together, so there's not so much distraction, right? And number two, it's the sea. I honestly think the waves of the sea and kind of everyone getting on a different energetic level helps to create connection. And then there is the slight disconnection from the internet. I mean, now you can actually get on the internet pretty well. The Wi-Fi is pretty damn good now, but it's still, people are not on their phones half as much. And I believe that disconnection creates a real connection. And yeah, that's true. Yeah, from our experience, we don't have to script it. We don't have to set up situations. There is no need for games. There is real drama. That is true. But I mean, in a way that is not bad. I don't want to put my people down ever, because I love them. I've created such strong bonds and friendships, and I've spent weeks and weeks and weeks with these singles. And but there is drama because there are people. I mean, our lives are a little bit dramatic too. I mean, Joel and I have a huge life, and it's not, it doesn't need to be scripted. And I really feel like people are just so done with that too. I think people can it's like palpable, and it's not in a good way. We love the crew, of course. Everybody knows that, we've got Matt and Ezra and the captain. Very cool. I would have liked to see a lot more behind the scenes, real behind the scenes, not because all the crew, we really do talk. I mean, my hosts, I usually hire a couple hosts to come on with me if I have a bigger group. We're obviously talking about what's going on, who we see like that we think might look cute together. And we're real people. We're really working. We're actually really working. And that would have been more fun, instead of pushing them together and making them talk about people. Again, it just would have been nicer if they just did things more naturally and captured a lot of footage, and then you edit it down. And that is something that I do professionally. I mean, I was just at this great guy. He's a philanthropist, and I'm working his social media account and helping him with his website. And Joel's helping him with his website. And he decided to give a car away to one of his employees, and because he had fallen on some hard times, he had a death in the family, and we wanted to capture that. So I just went and captured this really amazing experience. But I took a lot of footage. I mean, even though I was just there for like a couple hours, I have to edit it down for a reel. I got to make it like 30 seconds to give they're going to be on the local TV channel probably, and of course we're going to show it off to all the friends. Everybody wants a copy. Everybody wants to see his reaction. But all of this, yeah, I had to take a whole lot of footage to push it down to here. But that's what you're supposed to do instead of making everything so contrived. That's just easier for editors. That's not real. And I mean, I do this myself for a living. So, for social media, I realize it's not for TV, but you don't need to be so contrived. I feel like that's the lazy way out. So for me, the biggest disappointment is that it's not likely that they'll try this again. They have tried to do the recreation of the Love Boat like 3 or 4 times. And now the Love Boat cast is really getting to the age where they're not going to survive much longer, which is so sad to me. However, we're human, and we all know that there is no way out of this. There's no way out of this world. So, it's coming to end of days. And I really feel like this was their last opportunity to give all of us what we wanted and to showcase the real Love Boat the way that it really was meant to be. And really it really spawned a true experience, and I could have given that to you. So it's very sad to me that they didn't make the right choice, and they just wasted a bunch of money, and it was so unwell received that they actually cut it from CBS, and I believe Paramount owns the rights, so they're just kind of putting it up on streaming. And I'm not saying I won't watch it, and again, this is not to cast any shadow. These people that, were the crew, I know that they did their best. There's not much they could do. And many, many people have said if they just showcased Matt Mitchum's personality, it would have been much better. And I surely agree. I don't disagree with that either. But again, that comes down to CBS and the producers. So not to, I guess, I mean, I don't have anything to lose. I have everything to gain, right? I mean, I'm sure they know who I am by now. So I have the biggest love boat group out there. Um, and, it hurts to hear some criticism, but I was here the whole time. You could have consulted me and I would have loved to help because this is very near and dear to my heart. But tell me what you think they needed to do better. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'll take it. I mean, whatever. It's all good. Like you can disagree with me as long as we're polite about disagreeing. I'm totally okay with that. I've worked in social media since it was invented. So I have gotten through this social media path because I have integrity, because I stick to what I believe in, and I'm not wishy-washy. I do try to be diplomatic in a sense of not hurting anyone's feelings, but you have to be honest. That's what social media is all about. So, if you would like to see a real cruise, I would love to invite you if you're single, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you have to be fun. That is why we named the business Travel Fun. Travelfun.biz. You must be fun, or at least identify as being fun. We have a great group coming up on December 27th. You do have to book with us in order to get into all the events, to do the group dining, the theme nights, the cocktail parties, the dance parties. We have hosted events, and it is a very cool way to meet more people that love to travel. We do upscale singles of all ages, mostly 40s to 60s, but they're the young 40s to 60s, I guess is what I would say. And Virgin is a very hip cruise line. Richard Branson brought it out. I know I know all the VPs in the company and all the big players, and they're very good people, and they really are doing their best to be different. It is not a traditional cruise line. They do have solo cabins left if you want to be by yourself. It is not a cheap cruise line, so please, and I know other companies do cheap. I've worked with a company that does bottom barrel cheap. I just don't believe cheap is best. It's a great value though. They have the highest end food. All the specialty restaurants are included. The Wi-Fi is included. It's absolutely amazing. I hope this spawns at least some people to actually go on a really real love boat. That would be awesome. And I want to thank you for tuning in and being a part of our group. And we'll see, like, I don't know exactly what we're going to shuffle around here, but message me if you have questions. And I am the real Julie McCoy signing off. I'm Shelby. You're fabulous. Bye bye, guys. Thanks for joining.